Hey buddies, SomeNutzGuy here. Hope you're having an awesome day so far, and welcome back for more RLCraft. Today, we're going to be talking about weapons in 2.9.2. So things have changed a little bit from 2.9.1, although what I use for a large portion of the game will probably stay very much the same. But I want to run through that really quickly with you guys right now. Early game, when your health is low and your armor value is low, playing something a little bit defensive is usually the way that I go. So I will usually rock a one-handed weapon with a shield at, say, the iron stage. Now, the one-handed weapon I take is usually a spear because I like the reach, although it does have a fairly low bit of damage. An alternative, if you want to be particularly more defensive, is a saber, because the saber has the damage absorption, negates 25% of damage taken at the cost of the weapon's durability instead. So these are two one-handed weapons that are quite good to take early game with a shield. Now, once I've gotten through the game a little bit more, maybe at the point where I'm at diamond stage and I've got diamond armor and I can have a diamond weapon, and I want to start being able to one-shot most mobs like zombies and skellies and spiders, I'll usually move to a diamond halberd. That's often what I end up doing. If I'm doing hardcore, I might stick with like a diamond spear or even a saber with a shield. But normally on a normal playthrough, I want to be able to do a decent amount of damage at this point. So a diamond halberd at the diamond stage is often what I'll go for. There are other good choices. There's the great sword, which does a little bit less damage, a little bit slower, but has more sweep. The thing is the diamond halberd has a bit more of that single target damage per hit, and I want to get to one-shotting as quickly as possible, if that makes sense. I know some people also like the long sword or the katana. There's a lot of choices. And along with everything that I'm saying here, it depends on the play style, it depends on the search situation, but this is kind of just what I do and what I think after quite a few hours of playing the game. Now, when it comes to end game, you've got, again, preference, but here's my choices, my probably top 3 weapons for the end game and the reasons why. Okay, so firstly, I've got the Flame Dragon Bone Pike, which I love. I've always loved the pike because it has the reach too, and it has the most reach of any weapon in the game, and you can enchant Arc Slash for an AoE effect. You can enchant, like a sweep effect. You can enchant with extra damage to make up for the fact that it has slightly less damage. But there's no enchant to increase reach. There's potions, and there's, potion rings of reach, or the dragon the Ender Queen crown will increase your reach. But there's no enchant. So you can enchant pretty much every other effect, like sweep or whatever the case may be. You can enchant those, but there's no enchant for reach. So it has the best reach in the game. Probably one of the safer ways to do things like the Lost Cities as well, because some of these other choices are going to be a closer range. And if you have a flight potion, you can kind of fly fairly high above their heads, use your extended reach, and hit them without them being able to hit you. That's one pretty good option. Next up on the end game weapons list, we've got the Flame Dragon Bone Nunchaku, and this is a fan favorite. There's a lot of people that swear by the Nunchaku. And there is a reason for that. Now, they're not as strong as they used to be in 2.9.1. In 2.9.1, you used to be able to hold up a shield and swing with them at the same time. So you could literally block and swing at the same time, but you can no longer do that, as you can see. But with these, you can pretty much no-brain and just kind of hold it out, and it'll just keep swinging, and you can just point and hold down, and most things in front of you will die once these are enchanted. Now, one thing to note is that with the nunchucks, mobs obviously have a bit of damage immunity for a second or so, a split second after taking damage. Now, there's an enchant called Fiery Edge that basically is a core requirement for the nunchucks for them to be as good as possible. A variant of fire aspect that burns mobs for an extended period of time also gives the user a chance to ignore the invulnerability of an entity if it's on fire. Gives the user a chance to ignore the invulnerability of an entity if it's on fire, which essentially means that you can bypass that couple of seconds or couple of ticks of immunity frames that mobs will have. So now when I'm swinging and it's on fire, it'll be doing a lot more damage. Now, I wanted to show you, or a lot more DPS. The reason I didn't want to show you it while on fire is you can't really see the damage numbers while things are on fire, but you get the point, hopefully. And then finally, we've got the sentient weapons. And there are 4 now, and they've been updated, and they look super freaking cool. Super cool indeed. And each of these has a specific sort of special effect specifically for that version. So the Sentient Great Scythe has a built-in AoE effect. So, you know, you see that sweep there. It'll hit enemies in an AoE, like so. And it does a lot of damage. The Great Sword adds a bleed effect. So if you hit it once, has a chance to add a bleed effect. It will then tick for bleed damage over time. The Great Axe will render the armor less and less useful the more times you hit it. So it has an armor sundering effect. But I think the Sentient Great Cleaver is the MVP with regards to the sentient weapons. The reason being is this adds a viral effect similar to the viral that you receive when you're in the Lost Cities, and it multiplies the damage done, where the Great Cleaver kind of does that in a way, but just by reducing their armor. If the mob has no armor or has limited armor, that will do a limited effect. Obviously, with the Sentient Side, that sweeping effect, you can enchant with Arc Slash and get a sweeping effect without anyway. The bleed effect, you can add flame or fire, and that's going to have a damage over time effect as well. The way the Great Cleaver works is the more you hit, the more damage you do, essentially. So if you hit it once, it'll do that 20 damage. Hit it again, it'll do 40 damage. So essentially, consecutive strikes will do double damage with that viral effect. The viral effect doesn't seem to stack, but double the damage for your second and beyond strikes is going to be pretty damn powerful. So with that in mind, it seems like the Great Cleaver is the way to go for the sentient weapons. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my opinion on the best weapons in RLCraft 2.9.2. If you have any questions or you have any comments on things that you like to run, please feel free to leave them in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, consider subscribing. Hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Take care. SomeNutzGuy. Grab gaming by the nuts.